Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Cary'd by the Breeze, a podcast dedicated to the voices of the future, where you'll get to be part of the most honest conversations about self-development, spirituality, and holistic health. I'm your host, Carrie Breeze, and today we have the privilege of diving into the inspiring journey of a true multi-talent, a man who's not just a serial entrepreneur, but a lifelong learner with an unyielding spirit. Hold on to your seat, folks, because I'm thrilled to introduce our guest for today, Karl with a K. Karl, at over 40 years in the game, is not just a serial entrepreneur, self-help expert, motivational trainer, speaker, and coach. He's a testament to the power of resilience, continual self-improvement, and the unwavering belief in the mantra, never give up. A seasoned entrepreneur with over 4 decades of expertise, Karl embodies a philosophy of perpetual growth as he ventures through the dynamic landscapes of network marketing, real estate investing, and traditional businesses. Learning from both triumphs and setbacks, Karl views each experience as a valuable lesson in his journey of continued and never-ending improvement. His commitment to personal development extends beyond his role as the owner of a Yacht Electronics Installation company, as he actively engages in internet and social media marketing, generously sharing insights through programs and training. Co-authoring the 19th publication of The Change Book reflects his collaborative spirit, and the recent launch of Solar Solution Specialties, bringing residential solar power to over 22 states, demonstrates his dedication to sustainable solutions. Yet, amidst these achievements, Karl remains a person of unwavering character and integrity, serving as a beacon of resilience and ongoing self-improvement. Buckle up for an episode packed with wisdom, insight, and the infectious spirit of a man who truly lives by the creed to never give up. Ladies and gentlemen, Karl with a K is in the house. Let's dive in. All right, Karl, this is the day. I'm so honored. I'm so glad to have you here. Welcome to Cary'd by the Breeze show. I'm so happy we're doing this. I've been waiting for this podcast for a while now, and here we are. How are you doing? I'm
absolutely fabulous. I'm really thrilled as well to be here. I feel so honored. I know that we've done our share of chasing each other to get to where we're both sitting together. I had such a wonderful time with our introductory conversation that we both had, and I'm really just so looking forward to this evening with you.
Amazing. So we have a lot to cover. So it's not going to be the first and only time you're here. I'm going to have you for multiple of episodes with your permission, because I really want to pick your brain. But today, I really want us to focus on overcoming mental and emotional pain. Following your book, A Limb for a Limb, I think it was your first book, right?
That's the first Amazon published book. Yes. The first one that I really wrote with intention and meaning and, did all the hard work. Yes, absolutely.
So let's talk about how to reprogram your brain to lift you from the mental slum. So just a quick introduction to who you are. You define yourself as one of those givers in your book, an upbeat, happy-go-lucky, positive individual who finds humor in every situation. You didn't even have to mention that, because just following you online, it's exactly what I see and what I get from you. So, just looking at you, I have no doubt there's a lot to learn from you, because not only you are a kind person, just from our initial conversation last time, I know that you're a person of integrity, and you have lived through a lot, and you have seen the many changes that our world experienced in the past few decades. And just to quote you in your book, there's one quote that I really liked. "We're here on this planet to serve and share our blessings with others, but unfortunately, there seems to be a decline in this way of thinking. Do unto others, love thy neighbors, etc. seems to be losing their footholds on these values as the world relies on electronic and impersonal means of communication over good, old-fashioned face-to-face conversation." So I know that you're in Florida, I'm here in Toronto, but we're doing our best to establish this human communication, to learn from each other. Last time we spoke about having an elders council, and I have a lot of questions to ask you. So just for our listeners, this podcast is dedicated not only to the common listener, but mainly to future generations. So they can learn from our experiences in this lifetime. And this is where we offer ideas on how to improve our world and the society we live in. So I really want to hear you out. You've been around the block. What do you think are the biggest changes that this world has went through the past few decades?
What tipped you off about being around the block? Is it the gray beard?
Well, this is something I
let me share some wisdoms.
Share your wisdom with us. This is something I say about myself. I've been around the block. Sorry, very much.
I can't help myself. I'm just plain funny. So yeah, born in 61. I'm kind of what they call and consider the end of the baby boomers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the end of the great American retirement that's going on as we speak, and 99.9% of us that I know are all scared to death with the concept of how are we going to live into our golden years, our wisdom years, where we get to share and be the teachers and be the people that share the wisdoms and pass down the knowledge that is kind of our, what's a good way to put it, our rite of passage for making it to this current moment, 62 and change, which I'm just thrilled to be part of.
By the way, looking fresh as a cucumber, Karl.
I eat a lot of cucumbers. Maybe that has part to do with it.
Might be.
But yeah, things that we've seen that have changed. There's been so much. Something I read the other day, because I believe in, and this is one, if you're here watching and listening, lean in, grab your pad and paper. CANEI, which is continued and never ending improvement. And I'm always seeking and looking and learning and reading. And I just read something the other day that really hit me about what we see in our lifetimes. Let's just call it that to keep it simple. So imagine we're in 2023. So imagine 100 years, 1923. Yeah. Cars were just really starting to.
Oh my God, the world was
replace the horse. So let's go again, 1923 to 1823.
Oh wow.
So if you think about the 100 years of 1823 to 1923 was this like clip clop of the horses moving along in a forward progression. 1923, things started to progress a little quicker. We got cars. We got to go 20 miles an hour or 30 miles an hour. And now imagine 2023 to 2123, which I'm happy to say I'm not going to be around for.
Do I want to be around for that? I'm not
sure. That's interesting you say that, because my wife and I both kind of say, God, I'm so glad I'm as old as I am.
Well, before you go, please.
You wouldn't really think you would
some ideas
that you would say that, but for everything that we've seen coming up to now and what's in front of us and what's going on currently, I'm just really happy that I'm on the 2/3 side of it, or the 75% side, whatever you want to call it. I'm in the third quarter, the fourth quarter, whatever. But yeah, the stuff that I've seen, I mean, here we are on our laptops on Zoom, talking from across the world, so to speak. And when I was just graduating high school in 1979, I was writing computer programs that were going into computers that were, I don't want to start moving my laptop around, but the size of this room.
I have the whole world in this little watch, Karl.
Yeah.
Paid a lot of money, but I have the whole world right here.
This little gadget right here holds more than that giant room full of computers when I was 20 years old. So, yeah, what have we seen? What have I seen? A lot. And it's interesting that, I know your idea behind this and the beautiful works that you're doing with your program is about these become timeless. And I may be able to share this with somebody 50 years from now.
Oh, yes. That
just happened to tune in and see the guy with the long hair and the big beard and go, he looks interesting. Let me hear what he has to say.
Exactly. This should live long after us.
Yeah. So that's one of the things that I really like about our, where we've come and how we've come to. And then if we want to go to the other side of it, this again is, would be something to share with I don't like to use the word the youngins, but the youngins, the people that don't have as much experience. That I know we're all aware of this. Almost, I don't like the pandemic word. I don't like epidemic words. The challenge that younger people have with even something as simple as this, being able to have this two-way conversation face to face, even though we're not face to face.
Exactly.
We're both looking at each other through video, but the idea of, the telephone call and answering the phone and having a real phone conversation is one of those things that was my life. That, when the phone rang at 6 p.m., when the family was sitting down to dinner in 1975, 1985, the phone rang. And it rang and it rang until the person at the other end hung up because there wasn't even an answering machine. And now it's like if I text you and I haven't heard back from you in 10 minutes, I'm frantic.
Yeah.
That there's something wrong, or you don't like me anymore, or you're mad at me, or whatever it
Find
is.
Location. Where is she?
Yeah. Click the location button. Start messaging her, Facebooking, and go on LinkedIn and send her an email and shoot. We used to shoot up flares.
Yeah. This world just accelerated and it added so much anxiety to our plate, And yes. I feel like you guys, I'm saying, the grown-ups.
You old guys.
The elders council.
Thank you.
A different reality, I feel like you've lived through a different set of values that we're kind of lacking these days,
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. We all know how much more challenging it is now than it was in those simpler years, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, even my parents were married 25 years, but then got divorced. Now if you tell somebody you've been married 25 years, they're like, oh my God, are you in the Guinness Book of World Records?
Sure.
Because that commitment and that idea and that integrity and character and everything, that what has come from the past and has come to the present. I'm trying to be really, I know you're good about, we can talk about whatever you want. I'm trying to be good because I want people to learn and listen.
Speak out, Karl.
Well, yeah, but I also don't want to turn anybody off. It's so easy nowadays to send somebody off where they're thinking about something completely different than what I'm sharing because I created a trigger. Yeah. And that I do my best not to do, because I think it's important to share your message, but also share it in a manner that all people can receive,
relate to, and
yes,
not feel like their worldview is being attacked. Let's say
yes, and this is also something that wasn't around when I was younger.
Yeah, people were.
I could tell you what I thought.
Straightforward.
And if you didn't like it, we did this. and when it was all done, the guy who lost shook the hand of the guy who won and said, "Wow, I'm really sorry. I must have been wrong." And that was the end of it.
Oh, wow.
There was no payback. There was no, I'm going to get you. You both walked away shaking hands going, okay, you're the better man. And I was wrong.
Communication was simpler, you're saying.
Yeah. So Not sure how we got far down this rabbit hole, but
Yeah,
I think I've covered a few things about the things that have changed.
Yeah, for sure. So every time I talk about this, I feel like I've been born in the wrong time. I wish I could just communicate as you guys used to. Really, it sounds so much simpler than today. Walking on eggshells, trying not to offend anybody. Everybody's so delicate nowadays. But really, not to offend anybody. Really, we're here to help people go through a transformation and a life change, because people are slowly waking up to all the ailments and the struggles that are offered to us by the 21st century, So I feel like more and more people are embarking on this journey of self-development and really creating crucial changes in their life. So, in your book, you tell a pretty funny story about a dog on a porch that won't move from a nail it's laying on, because you say it only hurts enough to complain about it, but not enough to do anything to remedy the situation. And I feel that a lot of us find ourselves in that kind of mindset where we're not really satisfied with the life that we're living, but we're not doing anything to change it. What's your stance on that? Like, what is it that we're currently lacking in our mindset to be able to rise up from our challenges?
Yeah. So, of course, I would love everybody to buy the book and read the book so they could learn the whole story. But it's kind of just book. Imagine Old Yeller, the big old dog laying on the front porch going, roar. And the neighbor says, "What's wrong with your dog?" And he says, "He's probably just laying on a nail. Only hurts enough to complain about it. Doesn't hurt enough to do anything about it."
Yeah.
And
that's us. That's society, man.
Well, that used to be us, but I think now with this, this availability and ability to, I don't even want to say speak your mind, because it's so funny to speak freely of your thoughts without consequence, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, TikTok, social media, blah, blah, blah.
Mindlessly.
People are all about I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mindlessly speak our mind. Let me emphasize that point.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was heading with it, was that it's become, because I can hide behind this shroud of my phone. Mm-hmm. Let me do it this way so I'm completely covered.
Yeah.
So that nobody can really see me, the real me. I can say whatever the hell I want. And if you don't like it, you can put a thumbs down or whatever.
Jump to the next channel.
And it's not the same thing as when you're standing in line at the checkout at the grocery store and somebody in front of you is saying something that you completely disagree with. You used to tap them on the shoulder and say, "I'm sorry, I don't agree with what you're saying." And then you would have a conversation that would come to some means, some end, some agreement, one way or the other. Whereas now, and we all experience it, we all see it. The simplest thing, I've had times when I posted on Facebook something that was just so inspiring to me, and then I got beat up by people over what I shared.
Oh gosh.
And of course, I call it grease off a goose. I am, and the other one is lean in and get your notepad out once again. Unrufflable.
I love it.
You know what that means, right? You can't ruffle my feathers.
Yeah.
I am unrufflable. So I always look at it, and of course it always makes you go, it makes you go inside. It makes you want to go back and go, what exactly did I say wrong? Should I go in? Should I fix it? Should I this? Should I that? And for me, usually it's like,
question yourself.
Usually it's like, move on. If, they can leave me. I'm okay with that. If you don't like what I got to share, then don't follow me anymore. It doesn't matter. So these are the things that I believe, are breaking down, and it's sad because it's what the whole world was built on, from the very beginning, from when they were hammering and chiseling on plates without going any further with that one, So
it's like we were able to look each other in the eye. There was a different sort of communication between people, that was based on integrity.
Yes, and honesty, and standing up for what you believe in, and having values. And these are all things that, I don't even know that they were really taught in school when I was a kid, but they were taught in community and in home. And again, most of us in my bracket were blessed because we did have the real family unit. We typically had, I had the corporate father and the at-home mother, who cooked and cleaned and sewed and made dinners, and dinner was always set at the same time, and the entire fam. I'm one of four kids. I'm the baby. My eldest sister just turned 70, so, and all four of us are still here, which is absolutely fabulous.
Amazing.
But this was all part of, there was no text message. There was a ringing of the dinner bell out the front door. And if your butt wasn't in that seat by 6 p.m.,
you're staying hungry tonight, boy.
You weren't going to be sitting on your butt for a while because it was going to smart. So, and now we've got the whole two working family or separated family, or everybody's just so busy. Everybody's eating in front of the television set or the Xbox or the computer or the whatever. There's no conversation. There's no communication. And I really believe this is something that's we're struggling with as a world, not just a community or a country, but as a world.
Yeah, because there's literally, screens between us. There's like so much between us nowadays that there's this veil of a different reality, that it's hard to look through, to just lift that off of your eyesight and see the world for what it is, and to establish real communication with people nowadays. And I feel like most of us are so busy surviving our daily life that you're kind of out of it. You don't even want to communicate with anybody else. And this is why it's so important to just look at the reality of your life and making that decision that you want to live differently. You want to embrace different values. You want to live closer to the people around you, to be an important part of society, a beneficial part of your community. And, this is part of what we're doing here. We're talking about the challenges and about how to overcome them. So let's go back to A Limb for a Limb. It's a story of how you went from 100 miles an hour to 0 in the blink of an eye. So tell us a little bit about what happened. Maybe show us what happened.
Do we have to put in the little disclosure right now?
The faint of heart. Look away.
This is not for the meek at heart.
A limb was lost.
Well, the interesting thing is, let's just give it a little foreground. Okay,
yeah, for sure. How a limb was taken and how a limb was given.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that I'm one of these. I'm a giving person. I'm the volunteer. I'm the yes, I'll help you with that kind of thing. So I had a dear neighbor, dear friends of 25 years. Maybe longer, that live right around the corner, and they're not as adept as I am at doing manual, handyman, physical kind of things, whatever you want to call it. It's, again, dancing very carefully. So they're just nice people that don't really do that kind of thing. So they were struggling with this big old oak branch on a 100-year-old oak tree that's right back here. And it was half dead, and it was going to be a problem. So my buddy Steve was at work, and I was home. It was Saturday morning, and we had talked about it and done some preliminary work on it, and it was time for this thing to come down. And I with a big pole saw 12 feet away and 6 feet behind the tree, dropped this thing. I live in Florida, by the way. Those of you who don't know, I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, one of the hurricane capitals of the United States. So I am no stranger to chopping down big branches from big trees that fall apart and break and everything else. So it was just another day. And the way this thing hit the ground, it had kind of a crook in it halfway down, and it hit and it bounced sideways and backwards. And in the blink of an eye, okay, here's the disclaimer.
That happened. Wow.
My big toe left me. I know the book's called A Limb for a Limb, and a toe is not really a limb, but a big toe for a limb just didn't roll off the tongue. Didn't roll off the tongue like this does. So here I am. Now I'm in their backyard. Thank God the boys, they've got two big boys, and mom was home. They were all watching a soccer game and screaming and yelling. I'm in the backyard screaming and yelling for help because my foot is still under the branch. Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, you lost your toe cutting a tree. What, the chainsaw?" No, it was the branch. I'm a rare breed. Yeah, so of course
the tree took his revenge immediately. The tree took his revenge pretty immediately.
I'm a tree hugger. I'm a hippie. I love, I didn't like doing it, but it was to help help make them safer. Help make them safer by me doing what I did. So anyway, so let's talk a little bit about being an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. An entrepreneur means you do your thing, you trade hours for dollars, and when you're not doing your thing and doing that, then you don't make any money. And exactly. So at the same blink of an eye, my income went to zero.
Yes.
So, here I am, off we go, the wife, off we go to the hospital, and I'm in the hospital, and it's actually still, I don't want to go into the whole details of the graphics, whatever, but it's still hanging in there, so to speak. We're hanging on there, for lack of a better term. And the doctor's going, we could maybe pin, screw, blah, 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 this thing back together. I work on yachts for a living. Every time I hit my big toe on a cleat or the edge of a dock or a step or whatever I'm doing, it hurts. So I could only imagine what it would have been like if I would have spent years trying to get this toe to work again.
Yeah.
So I said, no, out of here. I have no vanity. I don't care about that part of it. I knew that the best thing for me to do was just get rid of it.
Yeah.
And that night, the doctor came back into the hospital and said, "Okay, I know you said that earlier today, but now I'm here with the paperwork. Are you really serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, where do I sign? Do you realize what you're doing? Are you of full capacity?" Yes. 6:00 the next morning, as they're getting ready to give me my cocktail to make me go, again, are you really certain this is what you want to do? Absolutely. And I'm so blessed that I did, because it still didn't go very well. And it took another operation 30 days later, and took 4 more months for me to get back to the point. Did I mention I work on yachts, which means I have to jump off a dock onto a boat. I have to climb ladders. I have to crawl around on my hands and knees all the time. I have to get in these, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's so glamorous." No, not what I do. It's hard work. That's why I'm in such great shape.
Looking great, like I said.
So here I am.
Minus
now it's
a limb, but still looking great.
Yeah, now it's the second week of January of 2020. Right around like the 20th of January, I'm getting back to work right before the country shuts down.
Yeah.
For the P word.
Yeah.
Or the C word, whichever one you want to call it. I don't like to even talk about it. So now here I am, zero income for 4 months.
Wow.
Going through all this pain and suffering and recovery, robbing Peter to pay Paul already to cover debt and bills and everything else. Now here I am again. And little secret about being your own company. There is no unemployment. Yeah, I got the PPP check that was $2,500. Well, that just about covered the expense of the home that month, but certainly didn't cover the 6 more months that I didn't work.
Wow.
Yeah. So during that time is when I went through all of the crazy mental, well, all the way back to from the toe is, going through this. What have I done to myself? What have I done? How am I going to support my beautiful wife and I? How am I going to support my family? How am I going to go on? What am I going to do? And these are all the things that you go through. And the only thing that you can do is go through them, get through them, power through them. And that's what I found myself having the biggest challenge with. Was it was kind of easy because we were in a position where I could get some additional credit cards, and I don't recommend this to everybody, but the first thing I did was got us both a couple of 12 and 18 months zero interest credit cards, because I knew we were going to be buying groceries and gas and paying bills with credit cards. We had no choice. So that at least took some of the financial burden off. Mm-hmm. But literally the trauma and the suffering I was going through was physical, emotional, and financial all at the same time. And when I go emotional is also, let's take it one step, let's go a little step bigger, mental.
Oh, for sure.
And the biggest challenge is, and again, I hope for the millennium ahead, people get to hear my message, because if all this up here isn't right, the broken toe isn't going to get any better. The bad missing, whatever you want to call it, isn't going to get any better either. If the mind's not ready and the mind's not sound, the body's not going to heal. And so, those were the two things. And then became, of course, the third, which was the financial burden that was coming from it. So onto the internet I went. How do I make money at home so this never happens again? How do I create? I've always been into multi-level marketing and network marketing and all these different things. I've made lots of money. I've bankrupted. I've done it all. I've had, God, I don't know how many businesses. I don't want to say, a bunch. Some great, some not so great. So now I'm laying on the couch every day because I can't go anywhere. It's like, what am I going to do? How am I going to start making money? And that's where book writing came in, because I've just come full circle back to the book.
I'm glad you did, because now we get to enjoy your book, and you're sharing so much of your wisdom here. Like you said here, healing requires a lot of mental, physical, and emotional energy. Without 100% of commitment with regard to all the aspects of the healing process, you're almost certainly guaranteed a much longer struggle than you should have to endure. And at this time where you lost your toe, you have so much free time on your hands now. It was enforced on you, but by the accident. And you said an idle mind is the devil's playground. So let's talk about the initial struggles that started coming in. What was your initial mindset, your thoughts that came in? How did you feel?
Obviously, the beginning was the worst. I mean, I'm a strong individual. I've been through. I've had my share of bumps, bruises, scrapes, etc. over the course of my life. I've had horrible back issues where I was down for 30 days at a time. But I never, in my wildest dreams, could ever imagine the pain that I went through this period of time.
Wow.
And one of the things, there's a group out there called Avaya. I believe it's AVAIYA. You can find them. They're they've got 1,000 videos of every kind of malady, issue, struggle, challenge that you could ever face in your life. They've got videos that you can watch that will help work on this part of it for you or with you to help you with it. And so my days actually began at Avaya every morning. The first thing I did was find something positive and uplifting and motivational to watch for an hour before I spent the rest of the day trying to figure out what I'm going to do to get us out of this giant pickle jar that I just dropped myself into. So yeah, the beginning was really, again, about heal the mind. And we all know especially right now for those that are going to listen to this in 23 and 24, there's so much challenge out there with mental health that people need to at least understand that there's, especially with this amazing system of education that's available at our fingertips for whatever avenue path we want to go down that path. If you can't talk to your aunt, your uncle, your mother, your brother, your best friend about what you're struggling and challenged with, then at least find those strangers out there that have been through it or whatever and share it with you and work through it, because everybody can get fixed if they're open to it, they're willing to it, and they're
committed to it,
and they're embracing of the concept that I can't go it alone. Yeah. And I'm preaching to my own choir right now. I am always if I can't, I got to do it myself. I can't, I can't have help with this, with that, with it. Anything I do, I'm always that way. It's all me. I got to figure it all out. No, so I'm even my own worst enemy when it comes to that.
Oh yeah, it's so important to just accept the fact that you might be needing help and you're not alone in your struggle, but just looking at the situation you found yourself in, like you said, in the blink of an eye, you lost 60% of your household income. It's so easy to throw in the towel, to feel like a victim, and you were able to grow out of it. So what helped you accept of these morning mental exercises?
Again, back to upbringing and integrity and the things that were instilled.
My wonderful character.
The things that were instilled, yes, because I give up is not in my vocabulary, so to speak. Yeah. I have put things aside. I've walked away from things. I've left things that I didn't want to pursue anymore. But I've done my best always to never give up. Push through. Fail your way to success is one of the great ones that's in Running for Your Lifestyle, which is a whole other thing, which is going to be a whole other show, because we talked about we can't even go to that part of my life yet. But that's what's happened also as a result of what we're going through right now. So yeah, it's about knowing that you have to keep going forward. You have to keep moving regardless.
Yeah, giving up is not an option.
Giving up is not an option. Winston Churchill, one of my favorites, never give up. One of the greatest 2-word speeches ever in the history of history was when he said, never give up.
Yeah. And you also mentioned that not holding yourself back with the limiting beliefs that are clouding your judgment. I love that. What were the limiting beliefs that started, appearing in your mind and clouding your judgment at that time where you were experiencing so much pain?
Did I write that? Was that in my book?
Yes.
Sorry.
A lot of wisdom, Karl. I got
what was
it right
the question?
here.
What was the question again?
I was highlighting so many things. You said not holding myself back with the limiting beliefs that are clouding my judgment. So, yeah.
Limiting beliefs that's probably the root core of almost all evil.
Oh, yes.
Within any individual, it's self-esteem, your idea of who you are, all that. These are all things that are clouded by limiting beliefs. And again, that's another whole work. That's a work in the progress right now, actually. Future writings and future teachings. Everybody has it. It doesn't matter. You can be the biggest gajillionaire of the world, whoever that is nowadays. They still struggle with these gnawing voices in their ears.
Yeah.
A lot of times I call it the angel and the devil.
Mm-hmm.
You got the angel on one shoulder oh, you can do this. Everything's going to be fine. You're so special. You can blah, 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 blah. And then the other one's like, you've done it. You're never going to make any. You're not going to be shit.
Shut up,
Nothing's ever going to come at you. You're a loser. Your friends are all laughing at you. No, you'll be able to do this. They'll all love you so much. And this is what everybody goes through. Everybody. There's no avoiding it. There's only coming to it and coming aware of it. And
yeah. Showing some fists.
Duking it out with it, So yeah, I mean, that was the first day I climbed to the top of a 70-foot sport fish yacht tower. Those big giant aluminum things that come off the big fishing yachts. When I got up to the top of that thing in bare feet about 7 or 8 months after my accident, I did a Facebook Live from the top of the tower.
Love
because I was so proud of myself that I did that in my bare feet. Now, fast forward 4 years and now 62, I wear shoes when I go up and down anymore. And there hasn't been a yacht owner or a captain yet when I took off my sock and said, this is why I'm wearing shoes. Oh, go right ahead. So, was there a benefit in losing the toe also? Yeah, because I got to do that. But yeah, again, back to the limiting beliefs, even the climbing of the tower. How am I ever going to go back and do what I do? How am I going to crawl under these engines and into the backs and over the hills and spend all day on it's still hard to get up. The one missing that toe makes things difficult getting from being on the floor to getting back up again. So these were all things that went through, of course, that tried to, the demons that tried to rear their evil heads and make me give up. And instead, I got stronger.
Do you have any advice on how to maybe lower the demonic voice telling you to give up and how to, shine more of this positivity? Because, you've been through so much. You said that you were crying yourself to sleep at some nights because the pain was so bad. And just looking to the future, you realize that your life is about to change. And there's also pain in the detachment of what you knew to be your reality up until that point. So how could we, lower that negative voice in our minds telling us to give up?
Fabulous question. There are ways, there are processes. It's interesting. I have a dear friend that we've done a recent interview like this, and she has what she calls the 3 Gs, which is gratitude, grounding, and God. And so, again, it's out there for anybody who wants to embrace it and take it in. Is begin your day in gratitude. Begin and end, actually. Start the morning by, oh my God, all 9 toes hit the floor. I am grateful. Wow, I made it through the shower without, dropping the soap too many times or falling. I am grateful. And then get grounded, which can even be sometimes as simple as walking out into your front yard if you're blessed to have one, and take your shoes off and let that grass tickle your toes for a bit and spend a few minutes with that. And while you're in that space of grounding and gratitude is when you can sometimes see the things that are keeping that voice high.
Calling the positive voice.
When you're in that better space, you can see kind of, again, sight, vision. As you know, I'm speaking in January. I'm opening the Global Vision Conference with my speech about vision. Awesome. Yeah, which I'm really looking forward to. Sorry about the little ad there, but hey. So when you're in that better place, you can look at the challenges differently. And sometimes sometimes it's only one little thing. It's it's one small change or a couple of small changes that creates the great change that solves the problem, which I don't like to use that word either. There are no problems.
Yeah.
There are only challenges and areas of concern.
I like that.
And the only thing constant is change.
Yeah, that's a whole different way to look at it.
No. So and talk to the demon and say, well, why do you feel this way about it? Why do you think that it's going to be that way? Why can't it be the way I'm thinking about it? And you might win the argument.
Challenge the demons.
Challenge your demons.
You're so narrow-minded. Like,
yeah, we're not the first ones to think of that one. Yeah, we're not the first ones to think of challenge your demons, so have an argument with them. Or a discussion, even better.
Oh, yeah, precisely. So I love that you said in your book, if you find yourself in a situation where you think there is no way out, you must find, create, and invent a way to preserve. So what was your process regarding all of that? Like, you found so much free time on your hands now, and you're a person that never gives up. It's not an option to you whatsoever. And now you need a way, to invent a way to preserve. What was your process?
Well, the interesting thing with the book, because that was really the first part of the process. And I recommend this even to anybody that's struggling, get it out of here and onto here.
Yeah.
Put it on paper.
Get your thoughts on paper.
Doesn't matter if you publish it like I did. Doesn't matter if you put it on a shelf and never look at it again. Doesn't matter if you bury it in your backyard. Doesn't matter if you burn it. That's all going to be your choice. But what I can tell you about it is, especially to go all the way to Amazon, you write and you write and you write, and then you read. And then you fix. And then you go back and you read it again to make sure what you fixed sounds better than what you didn't like. And then you read and you read and you read and you fix and you read, and then you write, and then you write some more, and then you read, and then you write, and then you read, and then you read and you read and you read. And then it's done. And then you read and 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 you read. So by the time this was all done, I was done. I mean, I really believe the healing, 90% of the healing was in making this become this. It's a little book. It's a short read. See, it's not a novel because it doesn't have to be. It's a great story. And so that's part of the fix. That's part of the ways to get to that other side.
Yeah. And
then when I came out of that, it was interesting because now my next big thing I'm facing, I'm now starting to get back to work, starting to get a little money coming in. Now is what's next? Well, now what's next is how do I tackle this giant debt? Well, tackling the giant debt required setting goals. So again, at another time, we're going to talk about goal setting.
That's another book we're going to be talking
because
about.
That one is right here. We'll do a little quick commercial for that one too. So next,
all of them are great. I had such a great time just getting to know you better, and just hearing your story out and how the written word was such a healing force for you, and it is real. Writing things down, it's proved by scientists, that it helps people with setting goals and getting closer to their dream life, but also with healing processes, because what happens is encoding, which is the biological process by which the things we perceive travel to our brain's hippocampus, where they're analyzed, and just by reading and writing and reading and writing and fixing all of that, it improves the encoding process. So when you write things down, there's a much greater chance of not only remembering things and visualizing them, but just putting it on paper, and, placing the objects, scaling them, all this cognitive process that is taking place. It's what creates the transformation in your reality, basically. it transformed your thoughts through that process. It's amazing. And you're a living, breathing example of that magical thing of just putting your thought into paper.
What you just said was stunning. that was so good. It's interesting again in the next book.
It has a profound power. It is magical.
In the next book, I go into a little bit about the reticular cortex, which is the part of the brain that is activated by the pens. So, for lack of a better way to put it, when you think here and you put here, first of all, two actions are occurring, but it stimulates the reticular cortex, which, and this is more in like goals and visions and things like that. And, but again, in journaling, like this is where this conversation kind of started, was about the, God, just within arm's reach, here's one. There's two more. I mean, these are notebooks.
I love a person who writes.
Of projects of these. I have to keep them separate. Otherwise, I'm going crazy looking through them all the time, trying to find what I'm looking for. So, and that's only the ones that you see are literally this close. There's another one up here. So the idea of when you put it to paper, now it's a two thing. It's, and again, this starts to go into vision, which we're not going to go down that rabbit hole tonight, but it all has to do with all of it. You have to be able to see, to go back to the demons and all that, you have to be able to see yourself at the top of that tower.
Yeah.
That day, you have to know that you're going to go back up there again. And that's the kind of thing that you have to carry when you're going through these challenges to get you through the challenges.
So
you have to be able to see further.
Visualize yourself at the end of your healing process, basically. And just feel it like you're already there.
Yes. Again, dreams, goals, and visions. These are all, this is where it goes from when you're in the current challenge, whatever that is. Yeah. Whatever that current challenge is. It can be, it can be marital, it can be spousal, it can be friend, it can be job, it can be money, it can be anything that it is. They're all kind of the same because it's a challenge.
Yes.
And the only way to get to the end results is to figure your way through the challenge.
Precisely. So you talked about adaptation being one of the most wonderful parts of the human psyche, so you had to adapt to a whole new reality and let it go of an old one. Do you have any advice on how to make that detachment from which you used to know and the new reality you're striving for? How do we make that switch? How do we let go of the tragedy of losing our old life, the old normal?
That's fabulous. That's a great question. One of my funny ones is, none of us are Superman. We can't go fly around the world and make it go backwards. So, and the Deepak Chopras, the Dr. Wayne Dyer, the gurus of the gurus are all about the present. So really, we've had a wonderful interview all night tonight with no hiccups. And if there was a hiccup back there somewhere, there's nothing we could do about it. It's already there. So, so it's really about looking forward always. And there's a whole nother show about my childhood or whatever that we could get into, which would be the cause for a lot of some other things that are
for sure
along this idea of looking backwards. There's nothing we can do to fix it. Actually, there is. Leave it back there.
Precisely.
T. Harv Eker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I did the 3-day intensive twice. because I broke myself so bad the first time I had to go back and break myself again. I mean, this guy takes you through the most amazing transformations you'll ever go through in your life. And one of the coolest ones was that thing, whatever that is, that's gnawing at you, and get it and put it right here, and then turn it into a hot coal and see how long you can hang on to it until
That's
it's ready to
right there.
ready to burn a hole through the bottom of your hand, and then you throw it and
release it to the ether.
and then it's gone. So, these are all things that we all can do, have heard, will do, won't do, might do, think is silly. In my second book, especially in the goal setting book, I mean, I kind of rip into my readers. I write that way.
Oh, yes.
There's a couple of times. Yeah, there's a couple of places in the book that I congratulate them if they're still reading.
And you're so sweet. I'm sorry for being too harsh.
Yeah,
you better listen up.
right around the picture of all the people in business suits with their head in the sand. That part of the book.
What it is. Looking at the past and feeling all tragic about it won't serve you. It won't even push you forward. It will just keep you stuck in a victim's mindset, without the ability to look forward to what else has life to offer. Life isn't just about the tragedies that happen to us. And we need to really strengthen our core, let's say, in order to detach from our past and be able to look forward and to just accept the challenges and look at them not as problems, challenges. Yes. It's an adventure. Sometimes you fall down. Sometimes you lose a limb. What you gonna do? I mean, you could frame it and look at it and cry about it all you want, but it's not getting attached back to your body. You need to learn and endure and move forward. Just move forward and just shift your mindset from being a victim to there isn't anything that's gonna stop me. I am going to climb that tower again. One thing I wanted to touch about, which was so sweet, and we touched a little bit when we began this conversation, but I feel like we live in a world that has become more cynical toward love and maintaining lifelong relationships. And one thing that is so noticeable in your book is your love towards your wife, Barbara. And, you guys have went through so many struggles, when you lost your limb and you were stuck together 24/7. Let me ask you, how did you manage to maintain your relationship for so long? Like, teach us, Sensei, please. What are we doing wrong?
Well, first of all, we both get the gold medal for that one. And the really crazy thing is, right after that 4 months of pain and suffering and getting back to work is when everybody got to come home and spend 24/7 with their spouses. So we already had 4 months of practice under our belts. We were good to go.
Many of us broke through that time. You do realize that?
No, there's still so many problems because of that. It's so sad. It's kind of funny. I mean, I was 26, she was 21. 31. She's my elder. And we had both sowed our royal oats, whatever you want to call it. We had both had, lots of fun in our early days, etc. So it was kind of easy to settle into the idea of, I don't need another partner. We've both been there, done that enough. And then it just, we met so by happenstance as it was that, it was really one of those things that was just meant to be. So there's a lot of give and take. There's a lot of honesty. There's a lot of challenges and, not so fun times, but, man, and again, this was 4 years ago that the Tolio happened.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, that's what I call it, Tolio.
Tolio.
So you got to keep it light, So I think if anything, things got even stronger because of what we both had to go through through it. Be genuine, be honest, be giving, be kind. I'm still, I just yesterday it might have been, I'm kind of trotting to the door to open the door for a woman, and it's two doors going into a store, and the one that I grabbed is locked. And I'm like, literally, I cut her off. I'm like, hang on, I'm doing this. And I went to the other side and I opened the door. Because I call it chivalry's not dead. It's just a dying art.
Oh,
it's okay for us still to do that for the femme, no matter how strong they are.
Please, whoever is listening, learn something.
I still get, we have arguments over the dishes because, no, I want to do them. No, I want to do them. No, you did them last night. I get to do them. Our arguments are the opposite of what they should be, because, we're both that giving. And I still wrestle to get the door open for her as quick as I can, whenever I can. So 35 years later.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Oh, Karl, I could talk to you for hours. I feel like I'm talking to a family member, quite literally. I know that next time we're going to meet, we're going to talk about goal setting. And I want to know why goal setting needs to be taught in schools from day one. I know the answer, but I feel like a lot of people are missing on the opportunity. And if you're not well acquainted with the art of setting goals, first of all, reach out to Karl, go to his website, get your hands on his book, because he shares a lot of just bite-sized great advice on how to learn the art of goal setting in an easy way, easy, accessible, approachable. It's not as hard as it sounds, but it could be literally life-changing. So what made you want to write that one? Just as a, little snippet to our next episode.
Yeah. Well, we actually touched on it just a bit ago, was because as health occurred and jobs started back up and life started back up, the giant debt was there in front of me. And the only way to work on something like that is to plan it out and create goals around it. So I've been a student of Brian Tracy all my life. I mean, I've actually had the pleasure of hosting him in an event about 15 or 18 years ago.
That is
just incredible. The most amazing, genuine individual. I love him to death. So, of course, he's big on everything goals and vision and all that. So he's been a very strong influence of mine. But yeah, I tried to, what I did was I created this. The first one is Goal Setting Simplified, because I wanted to break it into bite-sized morsels. And I made it really simple. And the cool thing is as I was beginning to finish it up, I'm like, okay, I need to put this into play. And I did, the book is going to be done by this date. And then I reverse engineered it to figure out, and I was 15 days early. Wow. I launched my book 15 days before my goal.
Set right.
Guess what? My book works.
It does.
I practiced it. I followed it. It worked. It's fun. I keep it lighthearted. If anybody watches this and then reads that book or reads my other book, you'll know you're having Karl with a K sitting on the couch next to you having a conversation. Exactly. That's the way I write.
That's exactly how it feels. And I know too many people that want to write a book, but they overcomplicate everything, feeling like they're unworthy of putting their ideas out there, and you mentioned so many times, I think too many times, Karl, because it is great to read your books. You mentioned that you're literate and you're not a professional writer. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I feel like I'm having a great conversation right here. I don't mind the language.
Disclaimer.
Yeah,
disclaimer is in the front. It's in the front of every one of my publications, because I write like I speak.
What I'm about to share. Listen up.
run on sentences, over capitalization. It's me.
And I also think that this is just the beginning of something much more wonderful. Like we talked in our initial interview together about an elders council.
Yes.
and the meaning behind it.
The beards of wisdom.
It is what it is. Listen, I'm looking at you and I want to keep hearing you out and picking your brain and just hearing about your life experience and what you can pass forward to the next generations, because we're so lost, Karl. We're so lost, and what we've got out there, information is all around us, but it's so oversaturated nowadays that you don't know where to look and who to listen to and who's the authority and where's the lie and where's the truth and who's being authentic. And one way to find our way is to speak to real people. Reach out to real people instead of just, getting lost in the rabbit holes of the internet, the dark, dark web, web of lies, especially nowadays. God bless. So I'm enjoying our conversation, and I'm looking forward to the Elders Council. You've got the beard, you've got the looks. Let's build a bonfire and let this thing roll.
There will be those retreats. That's part of my vision. I'm already
said it.
I'm on the stages. I'm already on the stages. I just got to get the stages a little bigger, and then they're going to move into
you just
retreat
took the
events.
Words out of my mouth.
Yep.
Like I am looking forward to it. Please host me. I can share my own wisdom. I've been around some blocks, I have a lot to share about how to, we've been talking about strengthening our core, how to become better humans to serve society, to serve our communities much better. And it's so possible. It's possible to rise up from any challenge we're facing. I see it every day. And here is on this episode one living, breathing example of somebody who rose up from so many challenges, mental, financial, and look at you, you're shining. You're shining. Like I wouldn't say you've been through so much struggle just 4 years ago when the entire world changed so much, so drastically, so fast. And us young guns, like I know you don't like this word, but I feel like a lot of us, just people in general, we're suffering from, the victim's mindset. And it's so easy to just sit down and think, oh, poor me, like life circumstances, blah, blah. But it's all a matter of choice, through which prism you want to be looking at life. How do you want this human experience to look like? And you have all the power within you. You don't need to be born in the 60s when there were different values, and the family core and whatever, like all of that. Let it go. Learn from the elders, of course. Join the Elders Council. You've got a lot to learn there, but literally, it's a matter of choice. We just need to go inward and reach to our God-given power. Quite literally. I do it through breath work. Karl here did it through not only just having an amazing character, being grown into different values than what we have accessible to us today, but also because you helped yourself. You reached to all these tools out there that are available to us.
Yes.
Whether it's finding a mentor or watching YouTube videos or something to uplift you. Help yourself. Just help yourself. Decide you want to, and it's possible. And we humans, we're such an amazing creature. We could literally grow out of anything, and nature around us, it proves us that it's possible. Even a forest, it revives itself after a fire. So this power, this magical power of the universe and nature, it just flows in our veins. Here's one person you can learn from. Karl, you are amazing. I loved reading your books. I'm looking forward to the next ones. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your experience and your wisdom. And I'm looking forward to having you here again. We have much to talk about. the importance of setting goals, and just, yeah, we'll pick your brain some more. We need that. Karl, thank you so much again. This has been wonderful.
My pleasure.
Amazing. So everybody who wants to reach out to Karl, he's available on Facebook. He also has his newest website at www.runningforyourlifestyle.com, where he offers his complete goal setting simplified course and workbook that includes a private one-on-one Zoom mentorship. Wow! An autographed book. So yeah, just reach out to Karl. Karl's a great guy. He's a great guy, Karl with a K. So Karl, again, thank you so much. I love this conversation.
This has been my great pleasure.
Amazing. Okay, so see you here the next time.
Very good. Good night, all.